Hey, this is the Big JB. It is Wednesday. And some big news happened yesterday in the world of gaming. I am going to talk about that. So if you are not a gamer and you don't care about MMOs or Star Wars The Old Republic, you can turn me off now. There was layoffs yesterday at BioWare on the Old Republic team. I don't know the details of this, but it was apparently pretty deep into the development team where they did their cutoffs or their layoffs, their cuts. Everybody was wearing cutoffs on the development team. That does not bode well, in my opinion. They go from, they had 1.7 million at launch subscribers. They have gone down to 1.3 million subscribers, and now, well, I suppose it's technically 5 months. So December to January, February, March, April, May. Yeah, okay, so 5 months after the game's release, they have pretty deep cuts on the team. That doesn't bode well, in my opinion. Of course, if it's not making as much money and they staffed up really big time for the launch, it makes sense that there's some fat trimming that needs to happen on the team. However, it doesn't seem good to me that it's that close after launch that they have to do the layoffs, because it seems okay. So here's my experience. When I worked at Wizards of the Coast, it was after the Pokemon boom. Dang it, because the Pokemon boom helped people pay for houses, new motorcycles, and all kinds of other things. Wizards of the Coast was just exploded. Pokemon completely took off. They were making buckets and buckets of money. They hired people. They made a great amount of money. So years after that, I was there when Pokemon was still fairly popular, but it wasn't as popular as it was at its height. And we ended up, I saw several layoffs happen, cuts here and there, which were, staff cuts, cutting overhead. And then there was a guy who came on named Chuck Hubner, who was from Hasbro, because Hasbro is the parent company of Wizards of the Coast. And he made some really big cuts, because honestly, Wizards of the Coast was in the red, I think. And a lot of that was because of, there's a guy backing into the spot next to me, so that's what the brake lights are for. So there were a lot of cuts. There were a lot of changes that he made, including getting rid of the Wizards of the Coast retail stores, because they weren't money makers. They were just money sinks for us. So I understand that those happen, that those kind of changes happen, and those layoffs probably needed to happen earlier. The guy who was running the company before we had Chuck, he loved the people, and he really resisted probably making the cuts that needed to happen. But still, that was a couple of years after Pokemon came out, right? This is merely 5 months after the TOR has released, and that, I don't know, that just seems really early to me. And of course, you have to compare it to something like World of Warcraft, and a lot of people get upset when you make the comparison, saying that they're different games. Yes, they are different games, but they're in the same gaming space. They're both MMOs. You've got something that is an incredibly hot franchise like Star Wars, right? Because people have loved it forever. And then you have something like World of Warcraft, which still has something like 10 million subscribers, and it's just insane. And yes, Blizzard has had to lay off people, but the creative team, the work that's come out, the vision that they have for where it's going is huge. And maybe the team at BioWare has that same vision. Maybe they have that same clarity of direction and purpose for where they're going, but it doesn't seem like it to me. And I've talked about this before, that it just seemed so rough. When it released, it seemed like it was still so early in its process. There were things that I just felt like they should have included in the release. One thing I think would have made a huge difference is making the game moddable. So many people, so much of the stuff that makes World of Warcraft great are the mods that you can add to it to customize your UI, to customize your experience overall. I mean, it's a fantastic community of people who do mods for World of Warcraft. they're maintained, they're free, and they help users have the kind of experience that they want to have. And Blizzard has completely supported that. Not so with TOR. They haven't had the moddable community, and there's so many things that they didn't include in the game that they really should have. Don't get me wrong. They were very innovative with the quest system and with the conversation trees. And that's always been, I think, one of their strong points, is that they really help you feel like you're in the story, which I really, really love. But in my opinion, if an MMO is going to come out, it needs to feel like it's taking the stuff that has been before and making it even better. Part of that is innovation. And I had a really interesting conversation one time on a business trip with Peter Adkinson, who was basically the founder of Wizards of the Coast. And we were talking about innovation. And I said that innovation is coming up with stuff that nobody has done before. And thinking beyond what we've experienced, and he disagreed. He said that innovation is the way that business. He didn't disagree with innovation. He said that the way that business enhances is taking stuff that other people have done well and doing it better. And I definitely agree with that. Case in point, the innovation with the conversation trees in the Old Republic is fantastic. And so they took MMOs, which people have done before, they built on that and they made it better. They added something that was innovative that they hoped would make the MMO space better. The problem is that they didn't include things that were fairly basic that should have been included in the game. There are things that especially World of Warcraft players have come to expect, like a looking for group system, and other kinds of things that they've only recently put into the game. And to me, that isn't a good thing. That's not the way. It shouldn't feel like an MMO that released 3 to 4 years ago. It should feel like something that's new and fresh. So I don't know where it's going. I don't. My honest opinion was they should have sat on it longer. They should have released it. They should have spent more time in development, and they should have released it this year, and in December of this year. Put some more polish on it. Really thought through some more of the issues that they've had. I mean, when you're playing a game and you're on a server and that feels like there's nobody on, that's not a good thing. And they're talking about doing server merges because of the population. That's not a good thing. When you release the game, and if you got your guild set up ahead of time, if you met some of the requirements, they assigned your guild to a server. And when you take 3 of the biggest guilds out there, like AIE, which is one of the guilds, the biggest guilds from World of Warcraft, it is the biggest guild from World of Warcraft. When you take their thousands of players, or 1,000 players, I don't know, of TOR in that guild, and you put them on a server, and you take 2 other guilds that are also really big, and you put them on the same server, that is not balanced at all. And so you end up with, one server that feels completely packed, and then you have all these other servers, which, I mean, honestly, sometimes when I'm on, it feels like there's 300 people on, maybe. So it's really, I think it's really discouraging. And I know that a lot of my guild are not interested in the game right now. I mean, Diablo 3 came out, and don't get me wrong, everybody is really excited about Diablo 3, so maybe this is just a lull with Diablo 3, but, I talked to a few people, and they said that, once I've hit max level, I just don't feel motivated to continue playing, and I kind of feel that way, and I haven't even hit max level, and I'm the co-leader of the guild. So I feel a little guilty about that. There's just, I don't know, there's just a lot of things that I wish that they had included in the game. And maybe I just need to play it some more and get in and enjoy it in a different way. But that's how I'm feeling right now. It doesn't bode well, in my opinion. The things that the layoffs had me thinking about all this stuff. So a little bit longer video today, obviously. I feel rather passionate about this topic. I know how I would be pushing to have a game developed and released. So maybe someday I should do that. Anyway, this has been TheBigJB. You can follow me on Twitter at VoiceOfTheBigJB. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking this video. And thank you for subscribing. Have a great day. I'll see everybody tomorrow. Bye.